Aloha nerds, and welcome back to another episode of TheSalawag's Why It's Great Gut Reaction, in which I watch something and then react from the gut. And last night I saw an amazing movie. Now, dear nerds, I do not watch romance movies. I like action, comic book fare, superherodom, whether I've read the comics or not. MCU, Endgame, amazing. Love You 3000. I am a little bit hip on the nerd stuff. A little. I'm right there in the marketing bracket of action and nerd stuff loving person. And source of all your toy profits. You're welcome and thank you. But last night, for some reason, I felt like watching When Harry Met Sally. Now, I've heard a lot about this movie. When I went to school at Academy of Art University, this was one of the movies that I didn't watch this movie for that school, but when they have the assigned reading, there was a chapter on When Harry Met Sally and talking about the dialogue, and I don't remember any of it. But all of a sudden, I'm watching this movie and I'm realizing why it was so worth this book talking about. The great thing about film school is that you get exposure to a lot of different movies and learn about different styles, techniques, and the professional reason why things are done. But I don't watch romance movies. I'm just a frickin' robot who consumes superhero junk and wants to regurgitate it someday and make money from that regurgitation. But here I am, it's late at night. I fell asleep way too early and woke up way too early after work and before work. And when Harry Met Sally's on, I'm like, I could watch this nerd thing that I always watch. Or, I do remember reading a chapter about something in the dialogue that was so important. And I didn't remember what it was until the end of the movie. But so, spoiler free for those who have not seen this movie, the premise is about When Harry Met Sally. The opening scene is them meeting each other. Now, it's a love story where two people fall in love. It's a romance movie. It's kind of right up front about what the ending is supposed to be. But what makes this movie great is that off the bat, it's not what the movie you think it's going to be. We kind of have this training of so many years of romance movies that are epic and amazing and true romance and falling in love at first sight and all this jibber jabber goo. And When Harry Met Sally starts off very differently. These two people are taking a ride together because they know a mutual friend and they happen to be going in the same direction, and that's how they meet. Completely functional, they just happen to be going the same way. Mutual friend says, hey, why don't you just go with my friend who, kind of needs the ride and he can do some driving too. And that's how they meet. It starts off with the meeting. And it's amazing how it's a rocky start because they're two very opposing stories, very opposing characters. Billy Crystal is a sort of a little bit full of himself, graduate, guy who has a very dark outlook on life, and his character's name is Harry Stone. And you see later in the movie when he deals with things, he kind of turns to stone. It's very interesting. And then, how am I blanking on your name? How am I blanking on your name? You are the reason I know this movie, you wonderful actress. Yeah, we're gonna need to stop. And Meg Ryan, her character, the Ooh, how'd you end up over there? Blanking a little, aren't you? I swear, I put nothing in your drink. How can you drink? You're a camera. Anyway, Meg Ryan, who plays Sally, her name is Sally Albright. These are two completely opposing personalities. Her character is very bright and cheerful and believes in love and true love and blah blah blah, and his attitude is I'll sleep with anyone and I just don't care about anything, and I'm pretty sure I know everything about what I need to know going into life. And so they kind of do not hit it off. Although he does say she's attractive up front. And it becomes this very awkward story of these two running into each other throughout their lives. But essentially, yeah, this whole movie is a journey. And not to tell you too much, they become friends, just regular friends. And that's a part of this journey, that this guy does not even believe that men and women can be friends. But a lot of this movie is about these two and their perspectives on life being challenged by each other, and then them seeing in real life the examples of why that person might have thought that way. And it's interesting, like this really is a sort of antagonism between two lovers. It's kind of like this movie-long fight, or a years-long fight for the characters, which is really interesting. I got caught up in just how natural the movie feels. I feel like I'm their friend walking around with them watching this happen and just going, you two should hook up. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, this is just there. You feel like you're a person watching their life. I think that experience by itself is why the movie's great. Aside from the incredible writing and story structure that my book that I was reading back in college was talking about. Without spoiling anything, that's what I'll say. If you want to watch a great romance movie, this is it. It's not what you think. It's not the romance movie you might want to see, but it's a romance movie that's very real and natural. It's not your typical true love story, and that's why it really hit me, because it felt very, very genuine and earnest, with just really great character writing. So check it out for that. Now, just getting into spoilers, so from here on out I'm going to talk spoilers about this movie, just to get across why it's great. That's the goal of this show, to talk about why things are great. You may have also noticed no ads on my show. Now, this is not because I don't have any sponsors. I will have sponsors someday, if I'm cool enough. But for now, really, the reason why I don't have ads is because I believe in doing this for free, and that the world needs more free speech, and life can be amazing if we just set aside our need for money and greed and work to pursue higher notions. Hence, discussing why is it great? It's great for whatever reason that came out of my beautiful ass. This is a fucking great movie. And to get into spoilers, just a bit, because if you have not seen the movie, I don't want to spoil this for you. So just watch the movie and then come back to this point. When it reached the end of the movie, the lines of dialogue came up that I remember reading about. It hit me. So spoiler. This is the end of the movie, the very last lines. You don't want it spoiled if you want to see this movie. Watch the movie. But it takes to the end of the movie for Harry to actually admit that he is in love with Sally. And so he tells this really great speech. And this is a classic thing that dialogue writers of movie like to do. You always want to end on a really great speech. It's just something great classic movies like to do. Not every movie has to do it, but certain epics have definitely done it. Casablanca being another one that our love won't amount to a hill of beans in this world. Some kind of speech that sums up what all this emotion and struggle was about. But he delivers that speech that, in this case, just shows how his character has changed. But at the end of that speech, he tells her that he loves her. And she is so mad at him, because at this point in the movie, they finally made love. And it was making love, because his character fools around a lot in this movie, and she does not. She believes in making love. But when they make love, it becomes awkward. And there's that natural awkwardness that the friendship has ended and you've stepped to a new place where now different things can happen. And so they stop talking to each other for a while, and it becomes so awkward and distant, and it's, again, so real. Like in real life, things don't go always the way you want it to go. Sometimes they just go, ugh, you know, like you were going straight, but all life went that way. Oh shit. Like my life, I'm just I have known people who did everything right, and the fucking world opened up to them, and me, the world was opening up to me, but I went this way, and that's what this movie does. And so the book talked about that, I believe. Maybe it's the Screenwriter's Bible, I'm not sure. People want to be filmmakers. If you want to write scripts, check out the Screenwriter's Bible. It was recommended by Academy of Art teachers, students. It was a really great resource for how to really understand how to write dialogue, how to write it well and professionally. And it even includes some formatting information for you. So that's a really great resource. But getting back to Harry, how when Harry met Sally, you know, he says, "I love you," and Sally says, "I hate you." She's still so mad about the awkwardness that followed, that separated the two of them after them making love. She's so mad because she had all this buildup of knowing who this character is and feeling like she got tossed aside, and it wasn't love. It was just she was just one more fuck that he had. And the speech breaks her, but she's still angry, so she says, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." And that's the character. That's the character in her mindset. But her last words after saying, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you," is, "I do." And she's, and so that's kind of how you know it's not "I love you" back. It's oh shit, like I'm angry, but you see in her face that she's not saying "I hate you," she's saying "I love you." That's where the performance and the subtext of the dialogue. If you're a really good writer, you can write on two levels: what's the character saying, and also understanding what the character's meaning, because the actor is going to have to understand that when they play it. So her saying "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you," played by a different actress in a different tone would be genuine, and this would be a tragedy. But with Meg Ryan's performance, it lands. She perfectly plays this light and fluffy person who life kind of crushes. She kind of crushes her dreams a bit. And then this ending moment, she's the negative one, and he's the positive one, showing their character arcs. So you get great character arcs in this very small, intimate movie. Really huge character arcs on a realistic and sort of believable modern day urban just person living their life, pedestrian lifestyle. Realistic and genuine. In real life, yeah, there's tons of people who say I love you back. That's boring. These characters didn't go through that. And it's just really great to see all these supporting casts filled up that theme and had their own opposing characteristics, and everything adds to how great this movie is. And what's interesting is that this movie is so much just conversation. Like I said, you do feel like you're sitting there listening to these two people speak, and it's as if they always go into the same places as you out of coincidence, and you just keep hearing their story. You're like, oh my god, what are they going through today? It's interesting to see their character quirks. The quirks, these characters have quirks, they have qualities, they're distinct. When they speak in certain ways, you notice that it is different from other characters. Really great writing of the dialogue. This movie, I'm sure, has a structure, but it feels so unusual because it's so genuine and realistic. I feel like I'm just going with where the story's going, as opposed to feeling like I'm hitting a plot point or hitting an emotional storyline point. Movies today are movies and shows, no matter how good they are, you just feel the checklist. It's nice to see a movie where you don't feel the checklist. The movie's constantly telling you, this is not a checklist. These are two people who have a conflict with each other from day one, and for some reason fall in love with each other. It doesn't make sense. You don't know what's going on, but that's what's happening. So, anyway, I really loved When Harry Met Sally. That was a great film. I think if you love making movies and you just want to see a film that is great for greatness sake, check out this. This is a lot to learn from. The naturalness, the reality. Get out into reality, meet people, talk to people, listen to people. And when you bring that reality to the screen, you make a true experience. That's when people know when they're just getting popcorn. You know, Tom Holland's Spider-Man's great, but it's popcorn. Tobey Maguire's story, that was meaty. Not perfect. Some of the meat was burned. You know, there was a lot of fat in some of the areas, but overall, pretty goddamn good steak. You know, so this movie is a prime rib. I'm telling you, if you're a carnivore, yeah, get on that. But anyway, that's what I had to say. And as I was saying before, there's no ads. I'm not trying to get money from you. I don't have a Patreon and not planning to get it. Because I'm not a sellout like some people. I really don't like when people stop and make advertisements in the middle of their YouTube videos. I just think it's tacky. You know? YouTube's already doing it. Why do you gotta do it? It's weird. I don't like it. I really like to drink life in an earnest and wonderful, family-friendly way. And every now and then share a Coke with a friend. Oh, we're not there yet. Okay. Fuck me, I suck. Don't watch any more of this. What's wrong with you? Go away. Stop watching me, weirdo. You know what's crazy? Star Wars fans? Carrie Fisher's in this movie. You like Star Wars? Carrie Fisher. Her character is the best friend of Meg Ryan throughout this movie. And, she has a, spoiler alert, she has a sort of a tragic love story throughout the most of this movie, in which she is in a relationship with a married man. It's very clear in the first scene what they're talking about. She's in a relationship with a married man. But it's, again, written so naturally that you can just piece it together yourself what she's talking about. Because they refer various times. You think he'll leave his wife? No, he's not going to leave his wife. Sorry, buddy. You're waiting for nothing. Like most people are. Been there, done that. Out of that shit. But yeah, Carrie Fisher plays that role, and it's really tragic, but what's nice is, the movie is a really good movie. But I, honestly, when I was watching it, I didn't know for sure whether it was a good movie. Because they go so much of this movie not even as friends. Just, the movie just cuts throughout their lives when they run into each other, coincidentally. And then they become friends. And they become very good friends. But they are in relationships with other people, and they're just kind of crossing paths with each other in no kind of in no kind of intentional way. But then through all that, they both experience a breakup around the same time and kind of bond over that, and that's the point where they become friends. And then they try to hook each other up with their own friends. One of them being Carrie Fisher. And Carrie Fisher, Meg Ryan's best friend. Dang it, I don't know this actor's name, but he was great in Punisher. And he's young in this. Wow, hey, look at you. The best friend of Harry Stone, Billy Crystal's character, they're trying to... Billy Crystal's trying to hook up his friend with Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan's trying to set up Carrie Fisher with Billy Crystal. And let's just say it doesn't quite work out. But it works out in an interesting way. Carrie Fisher ends up with the friend. And both Harry Stone and Sally Albright feel terribly dejected and rejected and just leave sort of lonely. But they're still kind of best friends, and they still just like talking to each other at any time of day. It's really nice. It's a really nice, natural movie with that. But I just can't believe Carrie Fisher's in this movie and has this whole arc that I don't expect to happen. But the reason I'm bringing this all up is because actually, the moment I knew that it was a great movie was this scene. The double date where the friends are supposed to be attracted to the main characters, but they're not. And then they're attracted to each other and have this very natural, instant connection, the one you want in real life. And the rejection of the main characters is is almost like this cosmic sign of you two are obviously kind of into each other. Because what's interesting about the date scene is in this scene, Harry is celebrating Sally. He's like, oh, you should know, buddy, Sally actually is really great at ordering stuff and will order things in such a fascinating way. You'll get a better thing than what the chef was going to make for you. And it was just such this kind of the way that you would talk about your own date. And what's interesting is the setup to this date scene. It's, again, walking into a conversation not knowing for sure what was going on. You might think the point was for the friends to meet each other and not to be trying to date one of the main characters. And it's sort of as you build up to it and seeing the inevitable outcome that we know this movie is not about one of these friends dating Harry or Sally, but it's about Harry and Sally getting together. That moment of like the universe just kind of slapping both of them in the face and making them look at each other, I thought was just really engaging, and it really made me into the movie. So that was just my little thought. For those who've seen this movie already, that scene is what I felt really stood out. Besides, obviously, the dialogue at the end that I mentioned before. But I just really like that little scene. So this is my little bonus thought. Yeah. Was it worth sitting through? No. No. Stop watching me. I don't understand. This is not good content. Okay, leave your negative, honest comments off of here. Because I already know this podcast sucks, so go away, watch a better podcast like Kinda Funny, or Red Letter Media, or Comic Book Girl 19, who has a very interesting Patreon now, and watch better stuff. I mean, holy shit, Black Nerd. I mean, you want to talk about a great online personality, and someone who's interviewed actual Power Rangers. Holy shit, Black Nerd is a fucking king. He actually is a Power Ranger right now. Yeah, go watch those people. Stop torturing yourself with me. Be well. Be well. Oh yeah, and this shit's on Hulu.